All right, we should be live with the audio.
Ooh.
And as soon as I hit the X and then hit that button, we should be live on the video. Are we live on the video? Do you hear us? Wait, no.
Hey, there we go. Can you guys hear us?
How's that Can You Hear Me Now song? Can you hear me now? No. I know there's
Something.
Daddy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
But there's a Hear Me Now song.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, can you hear us now, guys?
It's the it's the Verizon theme.
Oh, that's what it is.
No, that's not it at all.
Well, they had a commercial where they said, "Can you hear me?"
Well, yeah. Can you
Until
hear me
that
now?
guy
Yeah, he defected
to Sprint.
Yeah, like a real Napoleon.
Jeez. Probably didn't even take much money.
He was just like, I just want to show that Sprint is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me bring up the questions. How's our audience doing? Did you guys survive GBO? Because we did.
Did we?
Did we? But did we?
Would survive be the right word?
I know that I will be taking some time off this weekend. I believe Anthony and Robert will as well. And Danny is going to, I think he said he was going to take advantage of taking a little extra long weekend. So that's good. Bringing up the questions now. How many YouTubers we got? 83 on my side.
I got 83 on my side.
Why? I don't understand.
Huh?
Why can't I get to? I can't get to even more to forms.
Oh, firms.
So have you tried the guard yet, Robert?
I mean, I've thrown it.
Okay.
I haven't really putted with it very much.
Do you flirt the gird? That's gonna be. We're gonna start that.
Hey, flirt the gird.
Danny and Eric Oakley say that all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be a new thing.
I know that
Flirt the gird.
Eric grabbed a few guards before his last round.
Yeah. And we were playing around. It was me, Danny, Eric.
Not Anthony.
Yeah, me, Danny, Eric, Tina, not Anthony. We went and played around, and they kept saying "flirt the gird" every time they throw the guard. And Tina was like, "What is this? What is flirt the gird? Flirt the gird?" And we're like, "You're floating the guard." And I said, "Yeah, but if you're out on a boat, you'd flirt the Bert." I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I like that one.
I thought it was funny. Okay, folks, we have a problem. I can't get signed into. Sign in again. That's why it wants me to sign in.
You have to
again.
sign in, Bobby.
Trying to get the forms so we can get some Google form answers. Google questions. There she is. Good old Google Forms. By the way, if you are watching and you are listening, well, we're not recording yet. If you were watching and you came to the Glassbone Open and you said hello and that you liked the podcast, I truly, honestly appreciate that. It's an awesome feeling to meet people that listen to the show and appreciate the show and that you find it helpful. If you were at the GBO and you don't like the show, you are dead to me. No.
We got a low sound in the chat.
Low sound?
Sound is low.
All right. Hold on a second.
We're just going to crank it up for you here. Crank it up. Crank it up. How about now?
How about now? Check.
Give me a check.
Should be a little better on the show for you. Let me crank it up on the Sling Studio side. On the chat board, give me a thumbs up or what can you do on chat? Give me a yes I did or give me a hashtag watch.
Check. Perfect. It's good.
Give me a hashtag watch GBO if you watch the live coverage of the Glassbone Open.
Yeah, throw us a thumbs up in the chat if you watch some of that live coverage.
I said hashtag watch GBO.
Throw up a thumbs up with hashtag watch GBO in the chat. Oh, here we go. Roger Rabbit was on there. Sick. Thank you, Ryan. Some good tournament directing out there, my dude. Well done. Watch GBO. Lots of watch GBOs.
Nice.
Couple thumbs ups.
Good deal. Tell us what you thought. I mean, I thought it was really good, but any critiques, just let us know. Let us know what you thought about the coverage, the excitement. Don't want to ruin it. Oh, give us a thumbs down. No, don't give us a thumbs down.
No, never do that.
Has there literally, say hashtag haven't watched yet if you have not watched any of the coverage. one thing that's going on is the weather is really bad today in the sense that it's been storming all day, and I am so thankful that happened. We actually got someone who said,
Castro
Jordan
says thumbs down.
Goober.
He said give us some thumbs down. He's just following instructions. He got his wisdom teeth taken out, man.
If you haven't watched it, of course, technically maybe he hasn't watched it, but I gotta imagine knowing Jordan and his love for the game, he's had to watch some of it. Surely you watched some of it.
Tim says beats commentating so far by Robert and Terry. I don't know if you were trying to say best or if you were reporting in from Schrute Farms.
What did he say?
He said beats, Beets. But if you meant best, thank you. And if you meant beats, then okay.
Hi, Bobby. Was Sebastian part of GBO? He was not. Well, he was here. He was kind of our little late night editing mascot. He kept us entertained while Danny and Anthony were editing, popping balloons and just overall. Oh, and drinking really loudly, chewing on a bone really loudly. That was another part that happened. So, but just overall being the cuteness of the room.
Nice. Hey, thank you guys so much for the positive feedback for the live broadcast. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. Lots of people on here saying they enjoyed it. Seth said he looked at my face for way too long last week, and well, I share your sentiment.
Ooh, this is like the third person that's asked about, Bobby, what are your new sunglasses with the clear frames, green lenses? Ooh. Those are actually Under Armour. I walked into Hibbets. I knew I needed some new. I had a couple sunglasses that are like $10, $15 sunglasses, but I wanted some really nice ones that I knew that had really good UV protection. And I went into Hibbets with the intent of buying some Oakleys. And I saw some Oakleys. I was like, oh, let me try that on. They said, hey, did you know 25% off Under Armour? And I looked down, I saw these, and I was like, those are mine. So, yeah, those are it. 25. I can't remember how much they were, but 25% off. Your commentating is as good as your Apex skills with controller.
So,
nice.
So super average?
Wish there were
nice.
Wish there was more vlogs on the week. I know. I did 3 vlogs, and that was actually pretty intense with all the other stuff going on. So hopefully you're able to watch all 3. Hopefully a lot of you appreciate the behind the scenes look. I like to do the stuff that, because the tournament is getting covered. We all know about the tournament, but it's the other stuff that a lot of people would like to be a part of through via video. Who made the decision to not allow you to fly the drone during any rounds? I will keep that between me and the person because I don't want to have anything bad. But
his name rhymes with Anthony.
Yeah.
So
no, it wasn't Anthony. It wasn't Anthony. So anyway, it was total respect for the decision to do that. I'm obviously not into breaking the law on purpose. So let's see.
Dude, you fought the law.
And the law won.
Yeah. Actually,
so
you didn't fight the law. The law still won.
Yeah. We need a vlog about experience of vlogging. I'll get into that. So when is the GBO? The GBO is typically the end of April. That's when we usually get the GBO going, around the end months of April. All right, so I've got a oil change scheduled that I need to get to, so we're going to make sure we get this wrapped up.
Yeah, let's get it, dude.
We're going to start the show. I've got my speak pipe and my Google Forms ready to go.
Can't wait.
And we will start the show.
We're going to get through all the Google Forms today.
We're going to get all, yeah.
There's 84.
There's 84. Not happening.
Let's hit it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze.
That was a good one.
And I have with me Robert. It's raining outside McCall.
Yeah, that's correct.
It is raining a lot.
Yes, but we will take this now over at Glassblown Open.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like weather is always something that we're concerned about because around this time of year it's just kind of crazy and unpredictable. The temperature was great. We had a couple of days that were pretty windy, like 20 to 25.
Gusts up to 40, I think, was one day, wasn't it? No.
Yeah, something like that. It was pretty crazy, but no rain. It was good.
Yeah. So yeah, I was mentioning earlier that today I was like, whatever powers that are in place that kept the rain away, he's saying, here it all is. We're giving it to you today and tomorrow. So anyway,
that's right.
Good stuff.
Steve says Robert Jim Nance McCall. I'll take that. He's a commentator.
Oh, okay, nice.
At least you didn't say Joe Buck. So thank you, Steve. Although I have lots of respect for Joe Buck, as we discussed last week.
Yes, we do need another MacBook on the table because we don't have plenty of. We're supported.
I'll set my phone up over
here. There you go. So let's talk a little bit about Glassblown Open before we get into questions. We'll do it real briefly because we want to make sure we get to a lot of questions. But overall, 2019 Glassbone Open was a huge success. Now, I wouldn't say any of the other Glassbone Opens were not successful, but I'm sure there's, based on the weather and things happening, there are varying levels of success. And this one would be high on the marks of hitting all the right, hitting the pistons full steam. Wow. That was like combining two different
Banging
types
on
of
all
things.
cylinders.
Banging on all cylinders, steam engine. So anyway, it was really good. The live coverage went really well. Smash Box knocked it out of the park. They did a wonderful job. Had a few glitches on some of the holes during the coverage, but that was kind of expected because of their experience at the Emporia Country Club. So they were able to, Robert and Terry were able to really just talk people through. So they knew what to expect, which is good.
Right.
The commentary was on spot. I think that the combination of Terry and Robert, some of the things that pointed out to me was really good as far as explaining the play, just commenting on the play. When there wasn't much action going on, commenting about other things happening or had happened, and then allowing the action to just breathe.
Yep.
You know, if there was a time where someone was getting ready to throw, it was okay to stop for a second and let that person throw and then just give a little comment on what just happened. So all around good stuff. And of course, hats off to Doug Bjerkes. Well ran. All I heard was everything's running smoothly. Everything's great. Everything's good. Everybody had a good time. So very successful Glassbone Open in my eyes.
Super fun.
That's all. Robert just had super fun. So
I've said enough words. I will cease all words.
How many? How have you figured out how many hours?
The shortest amount of time that I was in the studio on our least commentary filled day was 8 hours. Sweet. My longest one on commentary was 9.5, and we did that for 4 days. And then after the 9.5 day, then we did the Raz round, and then we did the block party awards.
So how? I mean, we're talking what, 40 some hours?
Right around that over the course of 4 days. Yeah.
40 hours of talking.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a lot of talking.
Awesome. It was just awesome.
And then, of course, and congratulations to Katrina.
No spoilers.
Oh, that's right. Fablerina.
Hey, spoiler
There's
alert.
only one thumbs down guy.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the GBO coverage, we won't spoil it for you, but a male competitor won on the MPO side.
Yes, a male.
And a female competitor won on the FPO side.
Yes. Absolutely.
So plug your ears if you don't want to hear this right now.
You ready? Plug your ears.
Congrats to. And.
There we go. Congrats.
Your FPO and MPO champions.
Way to go at the Glassbone Open. All right, so that's enough Glassbone Open talk. Do you
Can
think?
we seriously say who they were, though?
You go
okay,
for
spoiler
it. They'll
alert.
yell at you, not
this
me.
was MPO side, Paul Macbeth. FPO side, Katrina Allen. Both came down to the wire, so if you haven't watched either the live or the post-produced coverage, you got to go check that out. Pretty sweet.
Yeah. We've got MPO 1, 2, and 3, FPO 1 and 2. So amazing stuff from there. We've got a GBO mega playlist, and I'll put that in the description for this podcast where you make one click and you can watch everything. I tried to put it in order of how it happened, so you could start with day one all the way, even with the highlights from PDJ. It'll give you a preview, day one's actions, day one's recaps, day two, down to even putting the vlogs in there and sort of the order in which they happen, so that you can have a day full of Glassbone Open disc golf coverage.
Yes.
All right, so let's jump into the questions. Let's jump into them. Remember, as always, guys, send your questions to discgolfanswerman.com. Hit that submit your disc golf question button, and we will get it on the air.
Probably.
Jake from Cleveland says, I have a question about plastic. 2 weeks ago, I asked about a putter. You guys said the Deputy was my best bet. My question is, if I wanted to throw it off the tee, what plastic is best? And if I wanted to putt with it, what plastic is best?
Sweet. There are lots of good putting plastic for Deputies. The classic hard, classic blend, or classic soft, that just comes down to your personal preference, which one feels the best to you. And then we also have Prime as well. Prime kind of sits in firmness kind of between the classic and the classic blend. And then for throwing off the tee, a lot of people like to use kind of a more premium plastic. So they Deputies are regularly available in the Moonshine plastic, as well as TFR, Lucid Deputies, and Fusion Deputies. Those are the ones I see thrown most. And then, yeah, more of the base plastics for putting is what I like.
So let me ask you this. Why would someone pick
Okay.
for a putter Why would they want more of the base plastic? Because they get tore up easier than Lucid. Why would they want that, though?
I think just because of the grip more than anything else.
Right.
At least that's why I do it, is that feels comfortable in my hand. It feels like I'm not going to slip off. And some of that premium plastic, when you're gripping it a little bit harder when you throw, and so that grip doesn't seem to slip quite as much. But on putts, it just feels different. So, yeah, that's why I do that. I've been throwing blend plastic, though, for a while for kind of my turnover shots in the Warden. So it's not a strict, you throw premium and you putt base. You can kind of do whatever you want, but most people putt base plastic.
Excellent. All right. This one is from, by the way, the people trying to put Game of Thrones spoilers. Too late. Already saw it.
Didn't see it.
Well,
but,
you haven't
but have no context.
Yeah, you have no context. This one is from Mike. He says, it was great meeting us at the Open last year, and I'm wondering, he's wondering if we're going to make it this year. No, we are not going to make the Tinny. We decided to take a break from European trips this year. Not sure what will happen next year, but for this year, we're not going.
Correct.
My question is about warming up. My game is seriously lacking, so I find that I'm teeing off at big tournaments around 7 to 8 a.m. Okay. Because his play is
right,
bored.
sure.
I am a relatively early riser, but I can't seem to get in a rhythm for the first 6 or 7 holes. Not exasperating.
Right.
That issue is the weather.
So that should actually be exacerbating, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, because he misspelled it.
Yeah. Well, exasperating is a word, but it doesn't make sense.
Oh, I gotcha.
Setting. But go ahead.
For example?
Yeah.
On the last day of Tinny, I teed off in 38-degree weather, and it was 75 by hole 6. Any tips?
Yes.
Play better. No. I'm sorry.
Get good. No. So here's what I do, and I'm kind of the same way as you. It takes me about 5 to 7 holes to really feel like I'm warm and ready to play. And so in the morning, I just get there in time to play 5 or 7 holes. Truly,
yeah.
I go play that many. By the end of them, I feel nice and warm. I've thrown a lot of the shots that I'm actually going to throw on those holes, so I feel more prepared for those holes. But I don't feel like I've just stepped out of the car, thrown a few warm-up shots, and then now it's game time. I feel like I've already played a few. So that's what I like to do. That usually means I have to get there about an hour early to do so.
So it's basically you have to shift everything, right? Go to bed a little early, get up a little early, get out there a little early.
Well, and he said he's an early riser, so that should be pretty natural.
Yeah. Next one is Chevy, down by the levee. Hey, guys, my question to you is, what discs are most comparable to the Innova Starlight Wraith and the Innova Starlight Sidewinder? Those are my go-to drivers. I don't throw anything heavier than a 138, so I want to try and stay on the lighter side. I am strictly a forehand player. Thank you so much.
Good question. We don't do like every disc of ours in air plastic, or else I think it'd be a little bit easier. But if I was going to recommend for the Wraith, I would say you'd probably want to look at a Lucid Air Renegade or a Lucid Air Trespass. I think those two are going to be relatively close to the speed of the Wraith, and between the two of them, you'll probably find one that has about the right amount of turn that you would like. And then the Sidewinder, it would be something closer to... Oh, man, this is a tough one. Do we do air hatchets? Do you know?
Ooh, I don't...
I think that's probably the closest disc in air plastic to a Sidewinder. Now, a regular disc that I would recommend would be an Underworld, but I don't think we have an air Underworld.
Westside Disc VIP
Air
try
hatchet? A VIP air hatchet. It may be a little too stable for what you're looking for, but it should work in nicely to get to a good spot.
Excellent. All right. Next
Oh,
one.
Chris Goodrich on the board says the Airflow might also work, so that's a good recommendation. Thank you, Chris.
Airflow.
Yeah.
Now, someone else says the volume is low, but then earlier someone said the volume was just fine.
It's okay, man.
All right.
Let's do it.
Next one is from JJ. My friends and I have a small bag tag league at our local courses. We try to find new ways to make it challenging. We did a double format once that was 1 and 6, 2 and 5, and 3 and 4 were paired. Both players would throw and would choose the lie, but whichever disc they chose, the person that didn't throw it had to take the shot and alternate it all the way to the basket. So you had to be strategic because of alternating turns, kind of like Cali rules, I guess. Have you ever seen this format?
Yes, I've seen this format because this is what we did for the Rainwater Razz Round.
Sure enough, we did.
Both players drive, and then it's kind of like a modified alternate shot after that. So there's a little bit of strategy that comes into play. Yep, that's the first and only time I've seen that.
Next question comes from Kevin. What's up, guys? Long-time caller, first-time listener?
That doesn't make sense, but I like it.
Oh, all right. I currently throw Innova discs and max out around 300 feet. I want to throw more premium plastic because I smash trees with the worst of them, but find that anything but DX plastic throws too overstable for my arm speed / form. I'm interested in trying some of the dynamic discs you all keep raving about. What plastic types do you have that will be more durable but will also be easier to throw for someone of my ability?
What you think? What do you think about this one? Also, we got a couple of volumes are low if you want to turn this up.
I know. I don't know what's happening here.
Actually, I'll answer while you do that. So our most durable plastics are going to be our Lucid plastic and our Fusion plastic. Moonshine is not bad, and then Biofusion is just kind of maybe a tick less than that. There's a little volume adjustment for you guys. Biofusion is just a slightly less durable than Lucid and Fusion, in my opinion. So those would be the discs that I'd be looking to try out if I were you. If you're maxing out around 300 feet, a disc I think you'd probably like a lot is the Lucid or Fusion Escape from Dynamic Discs. That seems to be a disc that hits a sweet spot for a lot of people who are kind of in that 300-foot range.
All right, this one's from Anthony. What's up, guys? I heard on one of your earlier podcasts that you were going to have a new Ranger bag colors. I recently got the large backpack cart and really wanted a new bag to put in that bad boy, but really wanted to wait for the new colors. Do you have any idea as to when they will be released?
We do not.
And thanks, EMAC, for mentioning that Prime Judges glide a little straighter than the Classic Hard. Knocked some strokes off my game. #Team Judge.
That is 100% true. They are a little bit straighter, and generally that's the case with Prime versus Classic or Classic Blend. That putter is going to be a little bit straighter. But we do not, unfortunately, right now have a release date set for those new colors. But we are always working on something.
Yes, we are. This one is from, and I forgot to plug in the sound thing. That's why we're not doing speak pipe.
No speak pipe?
Should I go ahead and grab it and plug it in?
Yeah,
While
okay.
You're answering a question?
Yeah, whatever.
All right, let's do this one. Canada Sam. Dearest Disc Golf Answerman crew / team / panel.
Noise.
I will be playing my first tournament in the U.S. later this month. I will be expecting a higher level of play from the field, and am excited to meet more of you Americans. However, I will not have a chance to practice on the course where the tournament is held, and the course is more wooded than I am used to. What advice would you have for finding lines and keeping a respectable score with all of this taking into consideration?
All right, this is a fantastic question, Canada Sam. Here's what I got for you. So when I go to play courses blind, I think the first and easiest thing to do is to try, like, your tendency is to want to push for everything, right? You think, I want to shred, I want to crush it, I'm going to go for all the birdies and everything. And I think usually what's helped me the most when I've had to play a course blind, if I can at all avoid it, I do. But if I have to play a course blind, what I will do is just try and play what's in front of me, like play what I see. So, oh, this looks like it shapes for a hyzer, I'm going to throw a hyzer. I'm not going to think about, finding a little tiny gap or maybe something that the locals throw. I'm just going to keep it down the middle, throw what my eye sees, and then more than anything that's going to help you is make sure that your throwing form feels good, so you can get some field work in beforehand. You don't want to throw too much stuff too hard, but make sure that your arm is warm, that your form feels good, and then make sure that your putt feels good, because I feel like good putting can cover a multitude of sins if you're having a tough driving day. If you're counting on every shot to land inside the circle, or inside 15 feet, it usually is helpful to know what's going on with that course, know the ins and outs of it. But if you're just trying to get kind of to the edge of the circle and you can make putts from there, then I think that's a good way to go about it. So yeah, make sure that putt feels good, make sure your form feels good, and then don't try to do anything crazy. You just kind of play what's in front of you.
I cannot find the cable for it, so
right.
We'll go on to the next question.
We're going to get through all 84.
Ted asks, hello, Disc Golf Answerman crew. I was curious if there was ever any talk about making putter molds in biofusion plastic. #Team Warden. Thank you for your time and all that you do.
We don't talk about biofusion and putters too much. Usually we just keep that to Fusion or Lucid, sometimes to Lucid Moonshine. But yeah, most of the time we don't do much as far as biofusion plastic goes on putters. So while Bobby's looking for that, I will move on to the next question. I can delete this, right? Yep. He says yes. All right, moving on. We got Jeff P. His question is about courses. He said, say I have a lot of family land in Texas I want to build a golf course on. What is the best way to start the process, and how could one go about partnering with businesses/people to help the cost? Wish Eric McCabe was able to be here today because I know that he's done quite a bit of this in years past. But I would say one of the things is that if you've got family land, then you just need to make sure that anything that you're doing is good with your family, that it's all cleared and you're set to go. And then what a lot of people have done for private courses and public courses, pardon me?
Sorry, wrong one.
That's okay. Private courses and public courses alike is that they'll invite Eric to come out and, you pay for his travel out there. He's got some expenses, things like that. And he can take a look at your course and tell you, kind of what sort of potential that you have. Do we need to cover our ears here, or are we going to be good?
It should be turned down loft, so we should be good. And
nice. You did it, man. So have him come take a look and tell you what sort of potential things you could do on your course. And then from there, if you decide that you want to go with his design stuff, then you can. If you want to go with somebody else, then you can. But as far as like getting sponsors and businesses to partner with you, there's no I feel like there's no good substitute for just pounding the pavement. Getting in there, telling them your vision, telling them how it's going to help your community, help grow disc golf in your area, and just help out in general. I think those are things that'll be really helpful.
Excellent. All right, let's see if we can try this speak pipe out. It may start out with a low volume.
Okay,
but we'll get it figured out.
Hey guys, Ames from Salt Lake City. Thanks for taking my question. I've been playing disc golf for 2 years and recently have gotten 2 of my coworkers interested in playing, and we have been trying to make it more interesting by putting something on the line, but our skill levels are such that it's not necessarily a fair game just straight up. So we've made a rudimentary handicap system that works okay for A-type play, but we really have been having a good time playing skins matches. But after a couple times, it's obvious that I end up winning a lot more holes than them, which isn't as fun or competitive. So any ideas for introducing a handicap system to skins matches? Or what are some other suggestions you may have as far as making it competitive for players that are on different skill levels in more of a casual setting? Thanks, guys. Really enjoy the podcast.
Thanks, Ames. Ames has the powerful blasts of air on his plosives.
Yes, could you buy yourself a windscreen? No, I'm playing.
That's okay. Thank you for submitting that. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, so this is how golf does handicaps on this sort of thing, and this is how I think is a really good way to do it. So go through the course and decide from holes 1 to 18, say which is the most difficult, which is the easiest, and kind of rank them in order of difficulty as it pertains to scoring average, right? So if you guys go play hole 1 and it's like a gimme birdie, you'd say maybe that's the easiest hole in the course, so you'd put that at 18. But maybe there's a big par 4 that most of you guys get 5 or even 6 on, say that's the most difficult hole. If you are a more skilled player, let's say on the easier holes, maybe you give up 1 stroke to each of the guys and just play skins that way. So if Bobby gets let's say Bobby is the super skilled player in your group, which is standard.
we're making it. We want it to be.
Yeah, this is a real life application. That's right.
So
yeah. So Bobby gives me a stroke. So he goes out and on hole 1, it's a gimme birdie. He gets a 2 and I get a 3. He gives me a stroke on that hole because it's one of the easier ones. So we push that hole, even though we got different scores. Sorry, let's try that again. If it was the hardest hole, and it'd be a good idea for him to give me a stroke, he beats me by 1 stroke, and so we get the same. But on the easier holes that everybody can reach, you can kind of just play those straight up. So that's kind of how they do that in golf. They go through the handicap and say, for the most difficult holes, you're given more strokes. For the less difficult holes, you're given less strokes, and just kind of go from there. See how it works for you.
There you go. All right, this next one is from Angel.
Hey guys, this is
What's up?
from Denver, and I had a question about drivers. For the past year, my go-to has been a Lucid Breakout and 157 grams, and I'm just not getting consistent results with it anymore. I actually just threw it into a pond this weekend at a tournament, and I'm looking to try something new. When I was throwing it really nice, it was going to the right a little bit and then finishing flat for about 300 feet.
Wow. Okay.
Just wondering what would be the next step up. I am in Denver, so everything flies a little bit more stable. Thanks.
Nice. A step up from the Lucid Breakout. So that usually comes in, I guess it only comes in lighter plastics. So you might want to check out something like the West Side Underworld. That's probably going to be a little less stable than you want, but in a heavier plastic, it might fly kind of like the Breakout does. If that's too understable, you may try out something like the VIP Stag from West Side Discs as well. I think those are both really good discs that kind of fit in that same vein. And then one that's going to be even slightly more stable than those, but really, really straight and easy to throw is the Lucid. It's one of my favorite discs, Lucid Maverick from Dynamic Discs. I really like that one a lot. It's easy to throw on just a little bit higher and see it pop up to flat and even turn over just a little bit. So, yeah, those are the discs I would check out.
All right, this next question may need a disclaimer. I don't have that disclaimer anymore, do I?
The views and opinions expressed on Disc Golf Answer Man are solely those of Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, Eric McCabe, and Robert McCall. The views and opinions expressed are not reflective of those.
Are not necessarily
those of Dynamic Discs or its employees or other people.
I think you kind of covered it.
I mean, I was a guess. I don't know.
Yes. So the question is, do you guys believe the growth of Discraft? By the way, this is liquid sausages.
If that's your real name.
If that's, yeah. Do you guys believe the growth of a Discraft is not only market share of a company, but in player/team is good for disc golf as a whole? Or do you think the hype is too much and is really hurting the sport? Okay, let me see. Do you believe the growth of Discraft in not only market share of a company? I don't understand. Explain that to me.
So what he's saying is, do you believe the growth not only in market share but also in their players/team is good for disc golf?
Why would it not be good for disc golf?
Maybe that I guess you could say that he thinks having one company get too big would be bad, but no, yeah, we live in a society that's governed by capitalism.
Right.
That's how our economy is, and if a brand can grow, whether it's disc golf or anywhere else, it is well within their right. And the more discs that they sell and that disc golf companies sell, the bigger that the sport is.
Right.
So across the board, we say that's good.
Yeah. Also, do you believe the gyro? I was thinking of a gyro sandwich.
Oh, man. Malachi just entered the building again.
Do you think the gyro sandwich is good? Yes. But another question would be, do you believe that the gyro technology is a real benefit, or is it just a way for MVP discs to sell their products in a more unique or in a unique way?
I cannot get over gyro technology. Those Greek wraps are so great.
Oh, they're good.
Oh, that is hilarious.
It's like a Greek taco, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
A gyro sandwich.
Yeah. It's like if Torchy's had a Greek cousin, it would be gyros.
So I don't know the ins and outs of MVP gyro technology other than obviously what I've seen and what they put out there. But what I do know is our technology. Well, no, we didn't even know our technology. I just know Latitude 64 made some overmolds. And I haven't done I don't know any testing that says it's better or worse.
Yeah, well, I don't think any of us have done any testing to say this is, objectively better than something else. From what I understand, at least from the way that we made overmold discs, is that they fly the same as the other discs. I mean, they experience the same difficulties as other single mold discs, and then they have some of the same benefits as single mold discs. We didn't really see any difference in like their ability to resist torque or anything like that. Their ability to fly straighter longer. So scientifically, I don't believe there is much of a difference, or if it is, it's so insignificant that it's basically negligible. But disclaimer, I have not done any of that research myself. So
yes,
that's where I'm at.
Let's see. This is from Tim F. in the chat. What's happening? You wonderful
Tim F's in the chat for Euros.
What's happening, you wonderful DD peeps? When will we see? Is this right for you?
That Euro technology has been around for a really long time, man.
It tastes good
like
too.
a long time. Okay, go ahead.
When will we see that? Is this right for you? Returning. I love that series. Helped me and a few friends so much setting up our bags. I do like how Danny does the reviews for some discs, but he has a much better arm than me. Ooh, Danny, someone has a better arm than you. You have a better arm than some people.
Says it right here.
Yeah, I like that we got to
Arms
see
raised in jubilation.
the ones that are better than everyone else's. I like that we got to see how the pro arm versus am arm throws a disc in the other series. Keep up the good work, you guys. Yeah. Yes, we have wanted. We are behind. We have the guard. We have the raider. We have the what else has just came out? That's DD.
Got all the team series stuff. If
Team
you care
series,
to do that.
yeah, and then the Vandal that's getting ready to come out. We're going to do a special. Is this trilogy challenge one? Here's the deal. We would have already been doing them had Old Man Winter just had not demolished Kansas.
Old Man Winter.
There were so many days that had been cold, and then when it started getting nice weather, it was GBO time. If you look out right now, it's been thunderstorming all day. So as soon as we get the first nice day that we're all here to film, I promise you, we are going to get out there and film. We're going to film those. Is this right for you? So hard, it's going to be crazy.
We're going to film the Euro out of those.
The Euro out of it. Next question comes from Charlie.
Hi, Bobby.
Did you like the way I said that?
Yeah.
Charlie.
Hi, Bobby, Robert, and Eric. This is Chooch Charlie from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Got an etiquette question for you. Last year, I got to go to the Delaware Disc Golf Challenge at Iron Hill. Was really excited to meet some of the pros, and then I got starstruck when I got there. They all looked so serious. I realized that they were working, and I felt like I was bothering them. So here's my question. When is the best time to go say hi? I feel like I'd be blindsiding them if I rushed over before their warm-up to say hi right when they get to the course. Should I say hi during their warm-up? Should I say hi between their warm-up and when they tee off? Should I wait till after the round? I also seem like I'm bothering them then too. Also, what kind of questions should I ask? What are pros happy to answer? What questions are they sick of answering and no one should ever ask them that again? Hey, thank you so much. Keep it real.
So disc golf is in a weird, and I'm not saying disc golf is the only sport or activity or whatever or niche that has this, but disc golf is in an odd space because it's growing in popularity. It's very popular out there, but it's not quite as popular as obviously some big sports. But if you were to go to golf or basketball, you wouldn't have the closeness or the accessibility
exactly
to, say, Paul Macbeth or Ricky Wysocki that you would if you went to a Lakers game or you went to the Masters. You just wouldn't have that accessibility. So it is kind of a special thing that the sport is small enough that you're going to be able to walk up to Paul Macbeth as he's practicing or warming up and say hi and get a signature. But because the sport is growing so much, there's a lot more on the line than what I remember back in 2009. Right. I mean, these people are seriously playing for money.
Yeah, and their livelihood.
And so, in a sense, it may be weird to think about it, but it's almost, let's say your job is working at a computer and someone just comes up and interrupts your day as you're just in the zone of working. I mean, it kind of interrupts your day.
Yeah, that's kind of what he was saying, yeah.
Right, so you have to be real careful. So my suggestion is while they're practicing putting, warming up probably is okay. But if and then again, it depends. I mean, what if the round prior they did really poorly and they really want to concentrate? So it is kind of a hard thing. After a round probably is the best bet. Then again, if someone had a bad round, they're probably ready to get back to their place and kind of decompress.
Yeah,
so I don't know if there really is a great answer, a great general answer.
Well, yeah, on the course answer, I think it's kind of tough because definitely not during a round, like you said. They're focused in. They are like those are their business hours, right? I would say if you're gonna catch them before the round, say they're there for like maybe an hour or so before the round. If you catch them at the front end of that, not bad. They've still got plenty of time to refocus, but let's say it's like 15 minutes till their tee time and they're hitting every putt and they got their headphones in and they're kind of zoned in. I would leave that alone at that point. And And then after the round, maybe like once they turn in their scorecard, once they have a minute to like just to chill for just a second, is probably a good time to do it. But yeah, before they turn in their scorecard or inside of like maybe 15 or 20 minutes before their round, any time in between there I think is not great.
Yeah.
Now, I personally don't mind, but that isn't my full-time job, you know? Like if someone comes up while I'm at a backup or something, I have no problem chatting with them and just seeing how things are going.
That's because you have no friends, so.
That is not true. I have at least one friend, Walter.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you. But one of the best things that I think Chooch Charlie asked was like, what kind of questions do you ask?
That's right.
Because I think here's one thing that I hate answering, and that I've talked to a lot of people that also hate answering, is like, all right, you had a bad round before, and if you, like, let's say you as the fan or spectator don't know that, and you come up and say, hey, how's the last round? I don't want to talk about that. I've done everything that I could to forget about that at this point, you know. And then one time when I was in my infancy as a disc golfer, I met a touring professional.
Just crawling around.
That's right, yeah. And most people want you to stand up while you ask them questions. No, I met a touring disc golfer. He was a super nice guy, and he had just lost in dramatic fashion the weekend before. And I asked him, like, dude, what was it like when that player, you know, hit that crazy shot? And you don't want to think about that, man. You know, he's out there to compete. Just like that other guy was. It just happens that he came up on the losing end that time. And so I think the sort of questions that I love to get asked, and I think they love to get asked, are just like, hey, what discs are working for you? You know, how do you practice? What do you train to do during the off season? And just like some even non-disc golf questions. If you're truly interested in like something that you know about them personally because they've shared that somewhere, I think that's great to ask. So, yeah.
There you go. All right, Hector wants to know, why do all the AM divisions have a rating cap except AM age-protected divisions? I have seen many 950-plus rated players who in any other AM division would be required to play up in advanced group.
They should. If there's an intermediate masters division, I don't think that even exists, but if it did, I may be messing this up, but if it did, the ratings are the same for every amateur division, whether you're playing age protected or not. I'm going to double check that.
He's going to double check, and we'll come back. Jeremy wants to know. This is personal. Congrats to Bobby on his weight loss. I'm curious what kind of diet routine he is doing. I'm almost 40 and lost last November. I decided it was time to get back into shape. I started the keto diet and began playing disc golf 4 times a week in 12 months. I have lost over 70 pounds and back to my college weight. More importantly, my blood pressure is better and I'm sleeping better and have more energy. Disc golf was literally a lifesaver.
Okay, quick thing. I found this. Amateurs have similar age-based divisions, but maybe also group based on skill and player. Don't delete that yet.
I'm not.
I need to look at it. Based on skill and PDJ player ratings into advanced, intermediate, recreational, and novice divisions. So I guess it might be possible that you could have a intermediate masters division. I guess, but most of the time you just see advanced masters, advanced grandmasters, or now that's MA 40, MA 50, and so on. If that division did exist, I think it would follow the same ratings as it would before. So advanced does not have a cap on the rating of the player that can play in it. You could be 1040 and have never accepted cash and play advanced if you wanted to. It would be stupid, but you could do it. All right. Moving on to what was this?
So he was asking about what I do for my diet routine because he had done keto for 12 months and he lost 70 pounds. So congrats to what was the name? Jeremy. Yes.
Jeremy. Yeah.
So
I think this is Jeremy Rusco.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't need to get in shape.
Yeah. I basically do the same thing. Very low carbs, except for GBO week. It was weird because at the beginning of the week I do really good, and then the more exhausted I get and tired I get, the more I'm just like, give me something in my mouth. So let's see.
Bobby's been killing it, by the way.
Trying to.
Big time shout out to him. He's sticking to it.
This one's from Jack. What are the points you get after playing a PDJ tournament? Do they affect ratings, or is it something that is used only for pros?
No, everyone gets points. You get more based on the tier of tournament that you're playing. So fewer for C tier, more for B tier, more for A tier, and so on. And that's actually one of the things that gets you to get invited to Am Worlds, U.S. Amateur, everything like that.
Cool. This one is from Dylan.
Hello, Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze Brown, Robert The Game Is Easy McCall, and Eric Emac McCabe. I've got a question about the 2 best discs ever made. I absolutely love both the Warden and the Emac Truth for their line holding beautifulness. I bag 4 Wardens and 3 Emac Truths, and they are responsible for nearly all of my good throws.
Nice.
Since they're both so good and important to me, I want the collector's set. So what all plastics have they been made in?
Oh, jeez.
Are any of them going to be especially hard or expensive to find?
Yes.
I already have Lava and Color Glow Emac Truths, and I'll be picking up a Lucid X at GBO. I'm just looking for a list of the plastics that they exist in. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Do we have a comprehensive list somewhere?
In my brain.
All right, go.
Here we go. So, Wardens. Super soft. Soft. Blend. Hard. Prime. Moonshine. Lucid. Fusion. Fluid.
I hope he's got a pen and paper.
Moonshine. Oh yeah, some Moonshine Blend and Moonshine Prime. Those are recent. Thank you, Danny. And then like a metallic kind of Lucid, like we've seen on Defenders and Criminals and things like that. I can't think of any others. Maybe just regular Moonshine. Yep, maybe I said that. Okay, on to the Emac Truth. The Emac Truth has been made in Blend, Classic, no, maybe not Classic Hard, Blend, Prime, then the Bio, Lucid Fusion, and then the ones that you're going to have the hardest time getting a hold of, like you said, you have the Lava, so that's good to go. Lucid X Emac Truths have been made in 2 different things, so you might need to get one of each of those. And then just some random, like different, not blends of plastic, but different designs and stuff, like from L64 Custom and things like that. Yeah. But for the Emac Truth, unless you're talking base plastics, go and look through our all the plastics that we offer. It's been made in all of those, for sure. Fluid, well, maybe not Fluid Emac, but there's been Fluid Truths. But then, yeah, Moonshine, Lucid Fusion, all that stuff, Bio, all that.
All right, so here's a good
hybrid on both of those too. Okay. Thank you to Dustin.
There's a question. Here's a question that I wanted to get your opinion, Robert McCall.
Okay, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yes,
all right.
I'm
So
ready.
this is from the YouTube chat. So this he asks, do you think the PDJ should fine players for player misconduct, like when Eagle slammed his hat down in the dirt?
Huh.
So I watched it because I saw someone mention it, and so I wanted to go watch it. And so sure enough, he had a bad throw. He threw his hat down on the ground out of frustration. When I saw that, I thought, okay, yeah, that's, okay. But there's a lot on the line, emotional. I mean, I think everybody pretty much gets mad. But then when he kicked it or stomped on it, I thought, whoa, okay. Maybe should we fine him? Was it really that terrible? Was it that bad? Is it worse because it's on TV?
Yes.
And we're trying to. I mean, now for people to go, he shouldn't do that. That's not going to grow the sport. I don't know that that's going to halt somebody from something like that's not going to make Taco Bell or Pepsi or Bud Light go. You know what? We're not going to sponsor
Is Taco
disc
Bell
golf.
looking into disc golf?
They might be.
What about Torchies?
Torchies would be good. So a Torchies Taco isn't going to say, I'm not going to sponsor your event because someone threw their hat on the ground and kicked it. I think there's far more worse things that have happened in the sports realm as far as TV. Yes. But it does beg the question, should he get a warning? Should he get a warning from the PDGA because it was on TV? Does that make a difference? What are your thoughts as a team manager, director, supervisor, chancellor?
Thank you for extending my title yet again. Okay, here's what it comes down to with as it pertains to competition. People get heated in competition across the board, and some people respond to that in different ways. Well, everyone responds to it in different ways than other people do. If this was a Team DD player and I saw them do that on camera, I would probably just say, I'd probably just have a discussion with them. Like, right. Hey man, what was happening? I understand that was a stressful situation. I don't think that's a good look for you, just because for players, your name is your brand. Your personality and everything right now is your brand. And the more people like you, the more they're going to buy your discs, right? That's the truth,
right,
across the board. Or if you're so astronomically good, it doesn't matter if people like you, then they're going to buy your disc. But for most people, and I think you could say this universally, the more people that like you, the more people are going to buy your discs, the easier it is for you to stay out on the road, make a living, things like that. So do I think it's ill-advised for a player to do that? Certainly. I don't think you want to you don't want to do that. But I think it's hard to say, is it worse because that was on camera? Yes, it's bad because that was on camera, but then it's kind of unfair to say that I should get I should get down on a player and, not punish them, but like slap their hand or have a discussion with them or whatever because they were playing better than everybody else, and so I got to see that. Because there might be stuff, and I'm sure there is stuff out on the course that I think is ill-advised for a player that I would never see or know about. And so, do I think he should be fined? No, I don't. But
so, in other words, you think you do
now if he damaged the course, right?
Sure.
So if he had, all right, so throwing your own hat down, which is your property, stepping on it, your property,
right.
Whatever. You do what you want to. I've gotten frustrated before. I choose to express my frustration in flexing all my muscles at the same time and go, ah! Right? Maybe you've seen that on some videos.
Maybe.
Perhaps the Warden round video. It's not a big deal. Anyway, but that's how I choose to express my frustration. Eagle is doing that with a piece of his property. That's fine. Now, if he had taken his discs and started just burying them into the golf course ground and like creating, like divots in the ground and the golf course that were messing it up, or like for some reason had something very heavy and hit the corner of a tee pad to kind of try and mess with it.
Sure.
Then yes, I could see that being fined or being disciplinary issues. But the PDGA makes disc golf a self-governed sport.
Right.
So if somebody wanted something to happen, somebody on the card would have needed to call him on a courtesy violation. Because I think that probably would have been a courtesy violation worthy act.
Right, and I get it. We can think of all kinds of scenarios where we would see a fine or some kind of repercussions happen. But to me, that was not reprehensible enough to warrant anything.
Yes,
I
agree.
Other than maybe, hey, dude, you probably it looks like you lost your cool. Let's not do that again. But they've got. I
don't even think the PDJ is in. I don't think they are in a spot to say that.
Maybe more like
a friend or his team, like maybe Jeff Corns, who works for Discmania, might say that. But even then, like that's a player's personal decision. You can decide if that's good for your company, and you can have a discussion on those grounds.
I wouldn't even say it's, and I get the whole thing of it's bad for the company. You're representing a certain company, so you have to have a certain. But I'd almost have to say the showing of emotions actually.
That's what I'm saying.
That's actually a thing that might connect them with people.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, so if it was one of my players, I'd probably say, hey man, what was going through your mind? And then we could just kind of talk it out instead of being like, hey, don't do that. You're stupid.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we could probably pinpoint all kinds of other instances that happened where we thought it was a little overboard. But to me, that was like, it feels like a lot of times viewers are just waiting for something to point out. They're like, see, that's bad for the sport. Oh my God, that's so horrible. No, that particular thing wasn't that. To me, it wasn't all that bad.
Right. So people are asking about some of the stuff that happened in the FPO division. Do you care to talk about that?
You can talk. I don't know a lot other than hearsay.
So here is a bunch of people have been talking about the controversy that happened in the FPO division. I'm going to tell you what happened from my perspective. So Katrina was throwing
Smash Box exclusive. Oh, dang it. We keep stealing their stuff. I am so sorry.
Okay, sorry, guys. So Katrina was throwing on hole 11, round 2, and she threw her drive that hyzered out early and ended up out of bounds. She asked her card mates where they thought it went out of bounds, and kind of made an argument for a spot that was inside the circle. And Jessica Weiss said that she thought it was farther back. The other two competitors on the card were kind of indifferent. That was Rebecca Cox. She said, I didn't really see. And then Jennifer Allen was saying, I didn't really see, but I could see it being up here. It was a pretty hotly contested call, and eventually Katrina took it inside the circle, made her putt for her par. Now, we were in the studio and we got to see the camera angle a couple of different times. And from our perspective, it looked like it went out of bounds earlier. But here's the deal for anyone making a big fuss about it who wasn't on the card. It doesn't matter what we think. Nope. It just doesn't matter. If you weren't there on that card, then we don't have any bearing on the situation. Now, I think Paige made a good post. And if you haven't seen it, you can go look at it on Facebook, that just said that the FPO division specifically needs to get better about making those calls without getting really upset with one another, but saying like, hey, let's make the right call. Let's watch where everyone goes out of bounds so that, we don't have a possible unfair circumstance. Right. So that happened on hole 11, and like that's not to say anything about Katrina. It's not to say anything about any of the people involved. I'm telling you what I saw from my perspective, and then what I almost said Shay. Shay's my wife. She doesn't play disc golf very much. What Paige said about it on Facebook. So then the girls chipped at each other a little bit more, Jessica and Katrina, and they were pretty much done with it as far as the talking about it goes by the end of hole 12. So that was that hole 11. Okay. Now the other one was on hole 16. This is the Island Green at Emporia Country Club. So yeah, 16th hole, 3 holes to go. Paige is down by 3 going into that hole. She lands the island, 25 left or so, 28 left, dead headwind. Katrina goes in the water. I think she went in the water. So she lays up, and then Paige jams this putt, like super sick putt. She gets stoked. She does a fist pump and kind of hits the basket on her way by. And then Katrina throws her putt. It hits left side chains and trickles down toward the water. And so she kind of goes over by the water, and then a little bit of before that, she kind of throws her mini in frustration. And Paige, as soon as she sees that, says, "Come on, Katrina, that's a warning." And now I looked through the rule book. I don't see anything about an automatic stroke from throwing your mini or something like that, but I do think it's probably worthy of a warning if you're, throwing it in frustration or something, or if you're just really throwing it at all. You shouldn't be throwing much of anything.
Who said what now to who?
Katrina missed the putt. She threw her mini.
Hole 16?
Yes, and
Okay.
Paige said,
okay.
yeah, that's a warning. Mm-hmm. And Katrina said, okay, well, then that's a warning for you hitting the basket.
Right.
So that happened. They go over to the water. They talk about it a little bit, and it didn't sound like they had fully resolved the situation, but Katrina took her spot. She made her putt for 5, and then they moved on. That was it. And at the end of the day, like they kind of just got chippy back and forth. Then hole 18, Katrina throws this incredible drive and ends up carding the birdie 2 to win by 1. But I think a lot of the controversy that people were talking about is that that 11, the spot on 11, whether Katrina was out of bounds earlier or not. Once again, if you weren't there, it's really hard to know. And we don't really have a say in it. But the one on 16 is, I think, the one that got a little bit more press toward the end, because I don't think they quite came to a conclusion on where Katrina's spot was, and she kind of counter-warned Paige for something that maybe Paige should have been warned for, but not only after Katrina got warned.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So this is from an outsider's perspective. I don't have any bearing on the call whatsoever. Paige made a post about it. If you're interested in seeing what she had to say, you can check that out. At the end of the day, all I have to say about it is, past all of that, Katrina threw an incredible shot on 18 and made a clutch putt to win the event. And no matter what happened before, that's something that you can't take away from her, because that was to stand up under pressure when she'd had some struggles on the green up until that point. Yep. To hit that putt, huge for Katrina. I told her that afterwards. I was like, dude, that's a sick putt, because you had to like steel your nerves at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So something I want to address that someone put on the YouTube chat, only because this was a sentiment I heard or saw a lot on the YouTube and on Facebook, was the question. He says, sports around the world use technology to get a more correct decision. The NFL, tennis, even soccer. When we have the cameras on the ground, why not change the rules and use them? Basically, it comes down to, we don't have cameras everywhere.
Right.
The sports that you mentioned, football, tennis, even soccer, is on a field where there's one central location where everybody's at that has multiple upon multiples of camera angles. And that can be used. And my understanding is, at least in football, if you are the hosting stadium, I believe there are certain requirements as far as the communication between the coaches and the coaches upstairs. They have to have certain requirements to allow them to communicate, and you have to have a certain amount of cameras. Now, I could be way off, but from what I understand, based on hearing things on different broadcasts, that's the thing. There is no standard for disc golf in a sense that for rulemaking. And, again, we'd have to have multiple cameras on all 18 cards.
Right.
Because it's not fair for in our case, the top 3 cards in male division and top 2 cards for females to have cameras to help them when the other 15, 16 cards don't have that advantage. That's just the way it is. So no, you cannot bring technology as far as cameras into rule making and decision making and rules calls.
Yeah, because it could benefit those players in some way, and it could also hurt those players in some way. Until every last card is covered fully, I just don't think you can do that.
Yeah, you don't do that. All right, so we only got a couple more minutes left to answer a couple more questions because I got to get my oil changed. This one's from Jerry.
Hey guys, this is Jerry from South Arkansas. I have a question about concerning the distance potential from putters to mids, and then mids to fairway drivers to distance drivers. Being that I currently throw an Opto Pure for my throwing putter that I can reach max distance about 300 feet, and then my mid ranges, I also can only throw that far, and I usually throw Core and EMAC Truth are kind of my go-to mid ranges. Fairway drivers, the Maverick, I throw a TL, Getaway, Thunderbird, stuff like that. I can push, 350 to 400, sometimes a little further. Then with some overlap with my distance driver, being able to reach a maximum potential distance of maybe 450. So my question is, how do I fill that gap between 300 and 350 feet when my mids won't stretch out that far for me, but I feel like they should? Thanks, and as always, keep it real.
The only explanation I can come up with for you is that maybe you're getting the nose up a little bit on those mids. Most of the time when people are throwing their discs about the same distance in between speeds, it's because they're getting that nose up just a little bit, which causes it to fly not quite as far as it should and fade out a little bit early. So that's the thing that I would work on the most. If you go and check some of Danny's videos, you can see how he talks about fighting that. He talks about fighting that by pulling through level and then actually finishing, following through just a little bit up. So not that you're sending the disc on an upward trajectory, but when you follow through a little bit up, it helps to get that nose down just as a part of the throwing motion. So go and check some of his videos out. He'll be able to hip you.
Hip me. That's one of my favorite parts from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, when they were at the cousin's house, and George Clooney's character said, "Do you have any hair nets?" And he said, the old lady has some in the drawer, something, and he goes, "Help yourself."
Yeah, that's it.
That's my favorite part. Help yourself. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. Oh, one thing that I do want to mention on here that I thought was interesting, because I heard someone mention on the YouTube chat, and I heard Katrina actually say in an interview about a year ago, or maybe a year ago, maybe a little longer, anyway, on a podcast, where she mentioned, because when we see the females get into intense, heated battles or moments, we tend to freak out a little bit more compared to the men, because so Katrina's point was, when Ricky gets super intense and like doesn't want to talk to anybody and gets that death stare, we're all like, well, he's in the zone, he's in it, he's ready to go. But when a woman does that, she's like, wow, she's kind of put off, she's kind of a I don't want to say the word, but you know what I'm saying.
Right, sure.
And I do think that's kind of a double standard. I think that women, if they are intense and they're in the moment, they should be allowed to just as much as men.
Totally, 100%.
I mean,
100% agree.
Yeah, I didn't think you would disagree, but
I disagree.
But I think people need to not pick on the women so much just because they're because they are doing the same thing. They're battling for their livelihood. These women are very competitive.
Right.
They want to win. They want and stuff like that. So
I do think, though, holding people to the same standard doesn't mean letting something slide just because somebody is a female or a male.
Absolutely.
Right? So, like, when people get into it on the course and they're kind of bickering back and forth, I don't care if it's girls or guys. I'm not trying to see that. Like, if you feel so strongly about that about a call or something that you think is getting called incorrectly, like, state your case, but at the end of the day, it's a card decision. There's not much you can really do about that.
Good. I was going to say, you say Ricky doesn't throw blank and cry. You don't know Ricky from about 4 or 5 years ago. Ricky was a young guy, and he had a temper. I'm just going to put it that. I know Ricky. I don't know him that well, but I know him. But yeah, he had his moments. It seems like every top guy, not everyone, but a few people have their moments. And he's had his moments.
Here's what it comes down to.
So that's not something you can put on Kat.
Right. here's what it comes down to. Each player has their own personality, right? Every player out there is different. I handle things a different way than Bobby handles things differently than Paige does, differently than Katrina does, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Okay, you can't and shouldn't penalize a player for their personality or for their competitive drive. You can and should penalize and call somebody out if they're trying to get an advantage unintentionally. I'm not saying that's what Katrina did, but I'm saying if somebody argues and gets chippy about trying to make a call inbounds that clearly isn't, then yeah, I think there's something to be said for, I don't care if that's a girl or a guy, saying that's incorrect. Like I said, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but just because your personality is a certain way doesn't mean that you shouldn't have to follow the rules like everybody else. And I think some players get passes on that because they say, well, that's just their personality. No, it's not. Everyone should have to follow the same rules all the time.
All right, let's quickly talk about Skip Ace and the results from the Glassbone Open. Looks like Eagle McMahon got us some good points, and wow, we did bad.
Yeah, we struggled this week.
We struggled. We had Yuli, AJ Risley, and Rick Steeler on there.
Yeah, Rick didn't have a good week. I know that he's been dealing with some back and shoulder injuries. Sounded like he was back up and good to go, but I think he struggled some this week.
And then on the female side, Paige Pierce got us some good points. Paige Bjerkes didn't do so well and didn't get us that many points. We ranked 218 out of the millions of fans that we have that are playing.
Hey, look, Malachi played this week.
Where?
Just keep scrolling down. Bam.
Malachi beat us.
43rd, tie for 43rd. Congratulations, Malachi. Eat your Euro and enjoy yourself.
Eat your or gyro, either one. So 218, number 30. We will find
Malachi. No, it wasn't.
Mr. Davey Reynolds.
Nice.
Davey Reynolds, if you're listening, please take a screenshot of you being logged in to
Did you say the escapist?
Thescapist.com.
Thescapegoat.com. Skipace.com.
Skipace.com. While you're logged in, send it to Bobby, BOBBY, at dynamicdiscs.com, and we will get you something. Sent out on the mail. By the way, real quick before we sign off, we are trying to grow our YouTube channel. Another round of applause for...
Nice. Very literal.
Very literal round of applause for Anthony and Danny with the YouTube coverage. It has given us more vivacious. We want to grow our YouTube channel, and we need your help, and we're going to do that by giving away. I have a stash of discs sitting on my little stash of goodies that we're going to start doing regular giveaways on our YouTube channel, so you better make sure you are tuned into YouTube and on our Instagram, because we're going to grow that as well. So
check it out.
We're going to start giving stuff away on a regular basis.
Check it
All
out.
right, I've got to go get my car sent in. Good oil change.
You're gonna mail it?
I'm going to mail it in.
Nice.
And so thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next week. Did we mention why Eric is not here, obviously.
Oh,
he's taking care
this
of
is tough, man.
He's taking, I don't know.
No, we'll let him share it later on.
He's taking care of some personal stuff, so we'll do that. But we missed having Eric on the show this week. Hopefully he'll be back next week.
Regular time next week, Tuesday, 2 o'clock. We should be back at it more on a little bit more regular schedule, and hopefully more rested.
Yes, hopefully more rested.
Because it's about to be nap time.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
Bye.